All right. Welcome to the American Women Podcast. Like, share, subscribe, and comment below. We're back. I forgot when our last episode was, but we took a little break and Valentine's Day is over. So how was your Valentine's Day?
It was pretty good. I had a me day, spent it working on some projects, doing some work, trying to make some money. Right now I'm currently single. I don't have a girlfriend, so I didn't spend a bunch of money on going out on a date or spending money on a fancy dinner or anything like that. But I think Valentine's Day is kind of one of those made up holidays where it's just where they're trying to make a bunch of money for all the different corporations. And I think that on the other side of the token, it can be a good holiday for certain couples to celebrate their love together. It just depends on how you think about it. So I think Valentine's Day is overall a good thing. But I do think it does remind a lot of people how they're lonely and how they're single. So that can be kind of a downer sometimes. But my philosophy is to just stay positive because to me, it's kind of a choice to be single. I mean, if the right lady comes around, then I would definitely try to be in a serious relationship with her. But no, my Valentine's Day was just spent working because I'm kind of a workaholic. I'm just about trying to promote the brand, promote the podcast, and make some money and try to secure my future and hopefully leave behind a legacy for my children. So maybe when I'm married, Valentine's Day will be different and I will, have a date night set up, have something romantic planned, maybe get my woman some flowers or something like that. But this year I was currently single. So for all the people out there who were single on Valentine's Day, don't let it get you down. It's just another day that honestly is just kind of a made up holiday for a lot of the corporations to just make extra money on gifts. So what about you, Carlos? How was your Valentine's Day this year?
It was great. I worked. So
Working.
I kind of I had a Valentine's or whatever, but I couldn't like give her a gift during work and stuff, but I got her a gift. But I'm dating somebody, but I like Valentine's Day because when you're single, it's a good initiation holiday. Is you remember like our first few episodes was talking about, I think it was the very first episode is like when is the appropriate time to place to approach a woman or situation, how to appropriately initiate conversation or approach a woman. And Valentine's Day is perfect for single people because I know a lot of single people don't like it because all the couples all show off and stuff on the internet and stuff and they want to be like them. But if you're single on Valentine's Day and another girl is single that you interested in, it's a good initiation holiday because a girl can't call you a creep for like asking her out on a date for Valentine's Day or whatever. It's pretty normal. So that's one of those days where it's critical. If you're single, then that's a good day to start a relationship. And it's interesting because cuffing season is over. So I witnessed a lot of breakups during this time. So it's at least like 10 people I've seen online that's like single now. Even Jason Momoa is single. That's crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think they had to double check. I think they got back together. I forgot the lady name, Lisa Bonet. I forgot her name. She was married to Lizzie Kravitz. But yeah, I think they're getting back together. But it was a lot of celebrities too that I noticed that were single during this time. So that's the downside of Valentine's Day is a lot of couples use that day as in to break up with somebody. But now that cuffing season is over, Valentine's Day is over. Now we got spring break. So this is going to be interesting because during quarantine, I think the women folded because before quarantine, 2019, it was the hot girl summer and all this stuff. And then guys ain't shit and all this stuff. So during quarantine, it was interesting because all the women folded. They was like, oh, I just I love men and all this stuff. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Well, it took the quarantine for them to break down. So now the summer's for the fellas. It's gonna be a hot boy summer.
So
Period.
Valentine's Day is officially the end of cuffing season.
Yes.
Right. It's interesting because you've got Thanksgiving, right, in November when all the women are like, oh no, I have to have a man because I can't show up to my family Thanksgiving dinner single. And
Mm.
so, they're trying to lock you down, they're trying to cuff you up, trying to get you locked in as their boyfriend. And then if they're unsuccessful by Thanksgiving, they're like, oh, it's okay. And then Christmas is right around the corner. They're like, oh no, well, I was already single at Thanksgiving dinner. I can't be embarrassed again. I got to get a man for Christmas to
Mhm.
bring home to the family to show that, I'm a worthy woman of having like a good boyfriend. And then before you know it, Christmas comes around, they're still single. And then they're like, oh no, I need a New Year's kiss, New Year's Eve. And then the very last hope, the very last date for them is Valentine's Day, because that's the next one.
Mhm.
And then so they're frantically trying to find a man, they're trying to cuff him up, they're trying to lock him down. And then after Valentine's Day, if they're still single, it's officially it. It's the end of cuffing season. And so then it's on to hot girl summer at that point.
Mhm.
And so that can kind of be a double-edged sword in the fact to where some women, like after Thanksgiving or after Valentine's Day, they're just like, oh well, I'm just single, screw it, I'm just gonna be single all summer now. And then on the other side, it's just like less pressure on the women where they're like, oh well, I didn't find a man by the end of cuffing season, so whatever. And then so because it's less pressure on them, then they end up finding a man, because it's like you said, Carlos, like when you're looking for it is when you don't find it, but then when you're not looking for it, it just comes and finds you. And so it's interesting how the dynamic with Valentine's Day is, like you said, kind of the end of cuffing season. Now we're entering summer, and it kind of starts off with spring break. So we're in the spring break season right now. So here in Florida, where we live, we got the beaches, less than a 40-minute drive away from where I live here in Tampa. And so the beaches are supposed to be wild right now. And so I'm definitely going to go check that out. And then go see, how all the different beach bars and all the beach clubs and stuff are, with all the different people that are coming in from spring break, because that's supposed to be a fun time. I like to play volleyball. I'm pretty tall. You're pretty tall too. So I'm pretty good at
Yeah,
volleyball. So
active.
we got to get out there, bro.
Yeah, get active. Something to move. I need a tan too. But it's interesting
Oh, yeah.
because after quarantine, I believe the American women became more aware of because they always been very selective, but I think it's like I think American women actually know what they're looking for now after quarantine, because anything could happen in the future. Whereas another quarantine, will they date a guy that doesn't have a lot of money and stuff, or will they choose a guy that has a lot of resources and money just in case another event happen, then they'll be safe. So I don't know how this I don't know how this spring break is going to be, because a lot of women, like we said, are anti-social and stuff. That's the whole movement. But I don't know what's going to happen because um, I don't know what American women are going to choose. Are they going to do the whole wild spring break thing, or are they going to be very selective where if they do find a guy or date a guy, will he have enough financial stability to take care of them, to take care of her or whatever without her working? So I don't
And
know.
do you think that because of the pandemic, women are more desperate now or less desperate? Because it seems like some women have changed their mindset because of the lockdown and because of the pandemic and because of the ongoing situation in the world, where they're like, oh, well, I need to find a guy who can provide for me and has money. And if things get crazy again and we get locked in our houses again, then I have that security there. And then other women, it seems like, oh, well, life is short, and it made them realize, like, well, I don't want to be lonely, so I'm just going to lower my standards. So it's like two extremes. It's like two opposites where women kind of think differently. And I've kind of noticed how some women, they're like, oh, I would date a poor guy, as long as he's cool and we mesh together and we have like kind of the same mindset on things. And so I think that's kind of like where women are starting to come around a little bit, and they're
Mhm.
actually like willing to drop their standards a little bit, which is something I haven't seen in the past. And so maybe the pandemic has changed the mindset of some women. Um, some towards dropping their standards, and then others towards raising their standards, and then some have just kind of stayed the same. Pandemic didn't really affect them too much. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, with spring break, it's kind of a funny predicament because a lot of these women, they're from out of town, from out of state, even from up north. They come down here to experience the good weather and the palm trees and the beach and the good water and stuff. And they're much more likely to find somebody to be intimately involved with because it's like they're on vacation, they're having a good time. They got some drinks in them, their inhibitions are lowered a little bit. And so I think that for those guys out there, definitely go check out the good spring break spots where everyone is going to, the good destinations, for all the spring breakers, because it could be a good chance to meet an American woman who's looking for a man who, just wants to have a boyfriend because, like I said, it's the end of cuffing season now. And so they're like, oh, well, I didn't find a boyfriend all through the holidays. And now Valentine's Day is over and spring break. You know what? I'm just going to have fun. F it. If I make out with a guy when I'm drunk, whatever. Some of these girls, they just think like that. And so I say, fellas, get out there, get out the house, get off the couch. You got to put yourself out there, go get involved, be social, have a little drink and just mingle a little bit. And so that's my advice to all the fellas listening to the podcast right now.
Yeah, no excuses. Get out there. Get your heart.
Right. You got to. You got to.
Yeah, this is gonna be exciting because everything's different now. We got the whole Russia Ukraine thing, so a lot of women are scared of that, and I don't know how their mindset is gonna be this spring break, but I know they'll be more responsible than before because they have a lot of stuff that they went through this whole 2 years, and it's interesting because before it used to be like everybody just like, I don't care about these guys, like, oh, hot girl summer movement. But all these women that promoted this hot girl summer are settled down, they're happy, and the women are liking that. They see Nicki Minaj settle down, have a kid, she's being successful or whatever, and she's doing good. She just had an interview with Joe Budden, and the women are liking it. They're not demonizing her for being grown and settling down. And it's a lot of celebrity or hip hop couples that are known to promote this ratchet lifestyle. They are settling down and leading by example. See Gucci Man and his wife, they're having fun. They're still doing being successful and making money and leading by example. So it's a shift. I think American women are really expressing themselves. So this year is going to be interesting because I'm so used to the opposite, whereas the whole like they're putting on a mask and faking stuff, and then because it like in the past, usually girls that like look like they're wild and party girls, deep down inside they really want to settle down. That always confused me. I'm like, I thought you was a tall girl, but they want to fall in love and stuff. So it's weird. So
Yeah, and I think too with this doomsday scenario, like you were talking about with the Russia and Ukraine war that's going on, and there's talk of like, oh, there could be nuclear strikes and stuff. So people are like, oh no, it could be the end of the world, and so people are kind of on edge. But I think in the American women mindset and the American women's psyche, that could play a role to where they're thinking, you know what, maybe I do want to settle down, maybe I do want to find a man, and the women who are thinking, oh, I wouldn't settle less than a millionaire, maybe they're just now trying to shift their mindset. They're like, oh, well, the world could end within a couple months or something. There could be a nuclear strike. So you know what? Maybe I just need to settle down with a man who's like more my speed. Who cares if he's a millionaire or not? And so, maybe he just has a regular job. Maybe he just makes $50,000 a year, but he still has aspirations of, increasing his status and trying to make more money in the future. And he's still working hard. And so I think women, because of like all this war talk and these nuclear strikes scenarios that could be possible, they're like, you know what? Let me just settle down and get me a good man. So if the world ends in 2 months, I've got somebody there with me. And so that could definitely play a role in the American women's psyche, where they're kind of coming back to reality a little bit. And not just only going after millionaires like a lot of these American women seem to do in the past. And so I've noticed some women trying to shift how they think about what their standards are and potentially meeting a boyfriend or a husband in the future too. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's the same where they thinking about life and thinking about the future and this whole chaotic thing. But another thing I like to do a deep dive on is I haven't seen American women post up about the women and children getting evacuated in Ukraine instead of like standing up and fighting for the country, because the men, was it ages 18 through 60, they have to stay regardless of what they believe in. They have to stay and defend their country. And I haven't seen any backlash or anything from feminists or any women that preach equality. They haven't said anything about it, and I'm confused. I'm like, shouldn't they be fighting with them or whatever, since women and men are quote unquote equal or should be treated equal? I haven't heard any argument about that. I've been looking for this whole past 2 weeks and I haven't heard nothing. So if you're an American woman, if you believe that men and women should have the equal amount of rights and privileges, because it's all just a double standard or whatever, it's not that serious. But comment below what's your take on the Ukrainian women and children have to leave first. So what's your
That's
take?
interesting because if it was the shoe was on the other foot and it was American women who had to be evacuated, then I think that would definitely switch a lot of the mindset of the American women's psyche too, where they would say, you know what, life is short. You know, I need a man. And so a lot of the women out there who might be listening to this podcast right now, um, life is short. You never know what's going to happen. There could be some kind of military attack. There could be bombs going off. It's very evident if you just turn on the news, there's war going on. And so you need some love in your life. You definitely need a man to cuddle with you at nighttime, to comfort you, to protect you, to give you emotional and mental support. So, I mean, yes, I know a lot of you are chasing that Louis bag and those red bottoms and those luxurious vacations, but you know what? Maybe you just need a good man who can take you out for a steak dinner every once in a while and is there to mow the lawn for you and is there, you know, to take care of your kids if you got kids and you're a single mom. So, you know, some of these American women, you know, just look at what's going on in the world. It's crazy. Women being evacuated from Ukraine, dangerous times. I mean, who knows what could
Sexist.
happen here in America? You know what I'm saying?
Isn't that sexist? Shouldn't women
Whoa,
18
whoa,
through
whoa.
60 should have a chance to fight? They should have a choice, because the whole women
No, you're
equality
right.
movement and all this stuff is supposed to be a choice, giving women a choice. A woman doesn't have to work a mining job or any stereotypical man job, but as long as she has a choice, she has an equal right. So I haven't heard any backlash about the whole Ukrainian sexist thing. Um,
Mm,
and I
you're
haven't
right
heard
about that.
anything about American women taking in Ukrainian refugees in, like, I guess, what's the name for mail order brides for men, mail order husbands? I don't
Is
know.
that a thing? Can the women, they can get the men too, like delivered to them? I never thought about that because I know the men in America, they will order women to be their bride that come from other countries. You know, it's, I've heard bad things about that. Some people that I know who have experienced these type of things say that these women are not what they're cracked up to be, and they have a certain type of expectation in their head, and then it turns out the women are like crazy, or they're just after money, or you know, they don't even look anything like they did in the pictures. It's like a completely different woman that they didn't even think that was going to be the woman that they were ordering. And so I'm not sure about that, but that's crazy too, how you're saying like maybe the women, they can just order men. You know, American women, what do you think? Comment below. Would you order a mail order bride, a mail order groom? Would you, American women, order a mail order groom? Yes or no? What do you think?
And it's interesting because I haven't had any bad experiences with European women. to be specific, or foreign women, but let's stick on European women. And I
Mhm.
noticed the difference between European women and American women. And I'm just talking in general because there's, of course, bad women in any type of country. But I haven't heard any good experiences from European men that American women dated. Because usually I hear they're very, or even foreign men, I heard they're very passionate and very jealous, and they're very aggressive, and they won't give up instead of just being nonchalant. So that's what I heard from American women that's been in relationships with foreign men and stuff. But a few of the foreign people I met, they really smooth with girls. They're like, "Hey, how you doing?" and stuff. And then just like, especially like with club hopping and stuff, you bump into like a guy from Europe or whatever, he getting all the girls, or he talking to them, or he make a choice for one girl. He's like real smooth with it. So it's like those type of guys, I never see them. I never see American women like settle down with those type of guys. I always see them settle down with the whole very jealous and um, mentally abusive type of man.
Yeah, it seems like that does happen sometimes where the American women in particular, they want almost a man that's controlling a little bit, and then kind of is a little bit abusive sometimes. And that's not to say all American women. I'm not trying to paint with a broad brush or stereotype American women, but that definitely is a category of American women who like the dominant, aggressive, abusive type of man who's controlling and frankly isn't very good for them. But that might be a small percentage. I may be wrong. But I think the majority of American women, they want a good-hearted, uh, good person, like a good man who's actually going to take care of them and supply them with resources and money and be caring towards them and loving towards them and not abuse them. So I'm speaking in generalities here, but yes, you're right about that. Some women have some kind of like self-destructive, self-sabotaging type of psychological situation going on, where they want the bad boy that's not good for them or not right for them. So it is interesting to think about how these European men are a lot different than American men, and how American women are a lot different from European women. It's really the difference in culture and the difference in ideology, religion, politics, everything that goes along with that. And so here on the American Women podcast, we're mainly focusing on the mind of the American women, but it is interesting to compare and contrast that to different countries and regions and continents outside the United States, because that gives you some insight into how the American women actually think about things. And for the men watching this podcast, I think it gives them better insight and understanding onto how to actually talk to women in America better and potentially find a girlfriend or a wife, which is the main goal, because everyone wants to be happy. No one wants to be alone. Everyone wants a girlfriend or a boyfriend. And like you said, it's the end of cuffing season right now. We're on to spring break. We're going into hashtag hot girl summer. And so it's definitely a time where people are going to be fraternizing, are going to be flirting with each other. People are going to be socializing. And so I think that this conversation that we're having right now is definitely giving people some valuable knowledge and some education about what's actually going on with the psychology and the mindset of the American women and how to properly approach them and talk to them, so they could potentially find a good mate or a good partner to share their life with. You know what I'm saying?
And I actually got a European friend. I work with him. He's from Bulgaria. I wanted him to come on the show so he'll have a perspective on show his perspective on American women, and I think that would be interesting because now he's just dating like women outside of America. Like he don't even like waste his time with American women. So I want to know his story and what made him change his mind. Because I was telling him like America is a pot. What's a melting pot? I was about to say pot belly. America is a pot belly. America is a melting pot of women from all over the world. You don't have to travel to a specific country or another country to talk to a certain woman, because it's women from all over the
Right.
world here already. You don't have to travel and stuff. But I think it has something to do with the mindset. So it'll be interesting if I have him on the show. He's always busy.
And that is very true because America is the most multicultural, ethnically diverse country in the whole world. But even that being said, there is a specific American culture, even though we are very ethnically diverse and we are a melting pot, like you were saying, there is kind of like an American women mindset, even within all that different multiculturalism that's going on. And so that is very interesting to decipher how there's different groups within groups. But yes, there is a specific American women psychological subtype that we're evaluating and analyzing right now. But then below that, within that, there's different types of groups that have influence from this country. There's a large Venezuelan population here in Florida where we live, me and Carlos here. There's a large Brazilian population, a lot of South Americans and Central Americans here in Florida. So that just is one example. And then you go into the Northeast, there's more European people. You go to California, there's more Asian people. And so it's interesting because a lot of different countries, they don't have that type of dynamic within their women or their men for that matter. It is much more homogenous within their people. And so I think that's an advantage actually for America. And that's what, makes the country such a great country. And so I think that presents a lot of opportunities for different men because it's not just like a certain type of woman. There's a lot of different types of women out there. And so men, if you're not having success, maybe just shift up your game a little bit, go for a different type of woman. You might have success. If say you have a certain type, maybe expand your horizons and broaden what type you're going after. Because like we said, the American women, it's very diverse. There's a lot of different types. And so I suggest for American men, just broaden your type of woman because me, I don't really have a type. I just like beautiful, smart, personable, and we have good chemistry. And so I think basically everyone should kind of have that same mentality where don't be too specific because love is love. And so definitely with American women, there's a lot of opportunity out there. And again, it's past Valentine's Day. We're on to spring break. Cuffing season's over. So that can be a good thing for a lot of men out there. You got to put yourself out there, guys. Go. This is some homework for you. Go put yourself out there, explore the different spring break destination spots, or even just go out to a social environment and try and talk to some women. Because what do you have to lose? Nothing, right, Carlos?
Nope, none to lose. Have fun. Stay focused. But we could end this episode right now, and then we're gonna have to do a celebrity episode. We gotta do a recap of the last episode because we got a lot of views on that video. I think it was like an hour long. So we could end it off here. Thank y'all for tuning in. Like, subscribe, comment below, and see y'all next episode. The American Women Podcast.